Van Loon, who joins us from Keele in the UK. He's a reader in astrophysics and the director of the Keele Observatory. Welcome to the programme. So we hear that Luna-25 spacecraft it failed to land on the moon, but is it really a failure for Russia?
Yeah, of course, after returning to the moon after so long, you just keep your fingers crossed that everything works. Russia has developed a lot of space technology, but it's still a very complicated mission to go there. As we have seen, there have been several crashes by various countries and private enterprises in the last few years. And going to the South Pole presents additional challenges in terms of what kind of orbit you need to go into before landing. They're exploring the causes for this, whether it's a software or it's something with thrusters that didn't quite work. I'm sure they will get to the bottom of it. They have a few more missions planned, and so hopefully they will carry on with those missions. The first one will just be an orbiter, so not attempt to land at all.
So Jacco, Russia, will it continue? Because obviously I'm sure this is quite a blow for Russian space prestige efforts. Will they continue, and what happens in layman's terms when something like this goes wrong?
Well, whether they will continue is of course always a political decision. And they have been under quite a lot of pressure to get some first. And this is what's caused them to rush a little bit, because the mission itself was delayed, but then they did go ahead now. Because there's an Indian mission, hopefully landing later in the week. So they did need this first. And of course, whenever you put pressure on something quite technologically challenging, it just increases the risks.
Absolutely.
But it's a political decision what happens next.
Okay. And Jacco, you mentioned India. So we have Russia and India trying to land on the moon within days of each other. Plus there's also, I understand, the US, Japan, Israel, China, all trying to get that lunar presence. But just why is there such a rush to the moon? There's one US newspaper that called the moon right now the hottest real estate in the solar system.
Yeah, thinking ahead, the moon does have prospects for mining, for instance, and as well as science. But ultimately, it's the long-term profits. There's a lot of involvement of the private sector now in the space industry, so there's a lot of interest in whether there can be made of profits from mining, and there are a lot of ethical questions around that, of course. On the one hand, it's good that we might have an alternative to mining on the Earth and not destroying our own environment, but then mining a pristine object like the moon might have its own ethical questions. But yeah, there are a lot of more players now getting into this. But as we have seen, it's not easy, and many have failed. Chandrayaan-2 failed, so it's just waiting to see whether Chandrayaan-3 will be successful. Of course, hopefully it will be, because nobody wants crashes onto the moon. As I say, it's a pristine object, and any avoidance of littering it and destroying it should at all costs be taken.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jacco Van Loon, for speaking to us today here on TRT World. Thank you.
You're welcome.